Hi, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Vivian, and if you are watching me for the first time, please remember to subscribe to this channel and also click the notification bell to be notified when I post new content. Most serious relationships, as we all know, end in marriage, and all we wish for the couple is to live happily ever after. However, not every marriage ends in that fairy tale journey. My guest for today is going to talk us through on how she moved from a troubled relationship to finding a purpose. Without further ado, join me, welcome our guest for today, Dr. Novella Jackson. Welcome, Dr. Novella, to the show. It is so exciting to have you here
Hello.
today. Dr. Novella is an expert in the area of relationship strategies, and she has a program where she helps women and children to find a safe place after a toxic relationship. So, welcome, Dr. Novella. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the guests.
Oh, thank you so much, Lady Vivian. Yes, once again, I am Dr. Novella Renee Jackson, and I hail to you from Huntsville, Alabama, in the U.S. For those who are not in the U.S. and are here with us today. Um, I am a relationship strategist and I work with women, truly over 30. I've worked with some younger than that have been in troubled relationships. Many of them have been in marital relationships that ended in nasty divorces. And I've been able to help these women journey through a process to regain their confidence, their self-esteem, while learning to work with their inner self to a life full of confidence and joy. As a part of that, a lot of times there may be children, so a lot of times there's a side component that I assist them with things to help them be better moms, journeying in the life that they had, to know that there is life after divorce or there's life after a troubled relationship. And the reason I know this, and I consider myself a master as well as the expert in this area, is because I too went through not only troubled relationships, but I also have been through a very traumatic and nasty divorce. And I didn't think that there was life after that. So I was very reluctant to step out of me because I didn't think there was a me to step out of. And I had to learn a lot of the things that was going to make me successful. Had to do with going on the inside and working with the inner self and regaining and reconnecting to my outer self so I could see the true beauty and excellency that God created within me and to be the woman that I am today. So with that, that's where I started, and I found that that was just been my passion and calling to do that, call to women and to help them in this, because a lot of times women lose themselves, particularly after any type of troubling relationship or divorce. And they just don't know, many times, even though they may be professionals, stay-at-home mom, a lot of times they just don't know how to get themselves back. So they just basically are living on autopilot. So my job is to take them off of autopilot and take control of that plane and be able to fly that baby and then land it successfully.
Wow, that is really amazing what you do. The fact that you take your own personal story and your experience and help other women who are going through similar thing that you went through. Experience is always the best expert to teach. So I would like to know, for people watching now, can you tell us some of the red flags when it comes to a toxic relationship to look for?
Um, One of the things to look for that will be a very clear indication is when you meet this person and this person is insistent on just really moving a relationship on a fast track, say, and you haven't even got an opportunity to really know core things about them. They're ready to move in, or they're ready to take it to the next level. And this is within a matter of weeks, and sometime within a couple of months. That is not enough time for no one to know anyone. That's generally one of the first signs, because a perpetrator has to move in quickly. They have to move in before you had time to think about it. So if they're wooing you and blowing you over, they move very quickly in the very beginning by saying, hey, you're the only person for me, things like that. And I really love you. I don't want to be with anybody else. You make my life complete. And I just know we are great together. We have such great chemistry. They are tapping into those vulnerable areas that you've already experienced, so they already know, but they want to identify them even quicker, so they can be able to move fast to get you in their corner, which eventually will create the isolation.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. And do you think that those are some of the reasons, or do you have any reason why some women miss some of those red flags?
Because majority of women, and that's men as well, because men experience domestic violence and other trouble relationships as well. Everyone that's in those situations, the one thing, the denominator that we've all wanted to experience was love from another person. Genuine love, to feel appreciated, to feel valued, to be that person that gets won over, that is more than just a friendship. You really want to take it more to become being intimate with this person. So it's just very easy to do that, and that's nothing wrong with that. But it's knowing what is real love. What does real love look like? What should it feel like? And a lot of times we just fall because we're like, well, they told me everything I've always wanted to hear, and now we equate that to love, and we fall for it every time.
Wow. Yeah, and I believe that some of them too, they get belittled to the point that they think that they cannot make it on their own, or nobody is going to love them. So they kind of feel trapped in that relationship. There's so many reasons that make them trapped. I know sometimes people watching and they're looking at someone in that kind of relationship, they think it is very easy to, get up and go. But sometimes it's not always the case. Some
Right.
go and they still come back. So what do you say? I don't know if in your program you've experienced any woman who left somebody and come back into that relationship. What would you say about situations like that?
I see it all the time. It's part of a cycle. Um, Only because women just don't fall into that. Usually it's a learned behavior that's taken over time, when the mind has become controlled and manipulated. So when a woman leaves, her heart wants to leave, and her heart will leave. It's her mind. Her mind is telling her, I'm not going to get anybody else. I'm going to be hurt. I'm not going to be able to make it on financially. And they feel like, well, this person did. They start thinking about and focusing on all the good things, because there will be good things this person will do. And they figure, well, that's not as bad as those bad things. I can live with that. I need to be a better, and I did it too. I need to be the better person. It was something wrong with me. I did something wrong. We immediately start blaming and self-shaming ourselves to believe that we did something. So it's like, oh my God, this is a great relationship. I don't want to let it go. So naturally, you go back. People can tell you to leave, but when your heart says, and that's the thing that makes it challenging, when your heart says yes, it's hard to tell your mind no. The mind is like, oh, wait a minute, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. You need to stay. The mind tries to be logical. Your heart uses a different type of, it uses your emotion. So there's that conflict, that wars all the time. So to keep from fighting that, you stay. You may leave, but you'll come back.
Okay. And I realized I also know that some of them they decide to stay or come back for the sake of the children, not knowing that being in that toxic relationship, fighting and all those abuse, sometimes it get on those children and they get affected so badly being in that situation. So sometimes it is not doing them any good. As long as we want to be loved, we shouldn't stay in a toxic relationship which is going to cause harm to us and the offspring or our children that we are raising. So going back to your story, Dr. Novella, I understand that you were also in a toxic relationship. How long did you stay in that relationship? And what was that turning point? What made you realize yourself and took that step that enough is enough? This is the time for you to move out and move on with your life. Can you share that with us?
The last toxic relationship I was in was for almost 10 years. And we were supposed to get married. Once again, I believed this person. My heart was everything about them that, oh, well, they're going to be this. And all of a sudden, the real person came out. They were manipulative. They were controlling. They were never available for me. They were never there. And they would make excuses for coming around and never want to introduce me to their friend. And they would say, well, I'm just trying to protect you. And I don't want, people all in my business. I said, well, who cares if we love one another and we're going to get married? I said, people need to see who I am. I said, I know how to conduct myself. But the thing was using a manipulative tactic to get me to believe like, oh, well, this is what love does. That's how I protect you. I'm going to protect you. No, it wasn't protecting. It was keeping me from knowing the truth and also another way of controlling. And I was at a place to bleed. Honestly, I just was getting tired. I found myself unhappy. I mean, really, truly unhappy. Nothing was going right. I was getting sick physically, more so than ever. And I remember that experience from a past. And I realized, I said, I can't do this anymore. And I remember I kept telling myself, I can't do this anymore. But the fact was, I was telling other people, but I wasn't believing that for myself. So I started telling myself, I can't do this anymore. When I started doing that, I started beginning to feel that thing. And then I started moving. I started taking steps, moving mentally. I started getting myself healthy. I got into real counseling that helped me identify some things within myself so I can work to break free and know that I can walk away from not only that kind of relationship, but any relationship where where I am not feeling value, where I'm not feeling love. And then I had to learn what love really was. When I learned that this was not love, regardless of what was going on in the past, I said, no matter what, you can walk away. And eventually, I just did it. I did it afraid. That was the whole thing. A lot of times we want to wait till everything is perfect. No, you do it afraid because you've been doing everything else afraid. I took this step and said, do it afraid. I'll figure things out as I go. And believe it or not, I did. When I finally said no and I stepped out, things started to falling in place in my favor. My strength started coming out. That real inner person that I had been working on had started to come alive. Said, now I can come forth as you and show the world who you are.
Wow. Sometimes the men we meet in our life, they either tear us down or they build us up. So I'm really glad to understand and to listen to your story, see how you got up from that relationship and you found yourself, you seek help. So, and now you have a great program that you help other women. I would like you to tell us more about this program and what you said the ages are from 30 and up. Why
Generally 30, generally
why did you
30.
choose that age group?
Well, based on statistics, that's generally when most women experience going through divorce. They've married earlier and use their experience in going through divorce, or at that point, they're pivotal in their careers. They've been dating enough or had been in a relationship before, and they're starting to come to a sense of awareness that they're feeling something is wrong and they want to get out before it's too late. And that's what the statistics show. And generally, that is when a lot of women early on, they don't have a clue. They're still figuring things out. By the time a woman's 30 and up, she's starting to figure some things out and say, no, this is not working. They have children. They don't want their children to see that. They don't want their children raised like that anymore. And many women, that's when it starts to become a turning point, but they're stuck because they really don't know what to do. And that's where I come in to bring them through a journey. We go through a 90-day journey, starting out with things. First of all, we don't deal with the past because that's counseling. That's not what I do as a coach. My job is to take them at that point of pain and say, okay, you're stuck. We're going to start looking at those things that have you still stuck. And we're going to start building a program and process just for you. And you're going to do things like journaling. We're going to do breathing, because many women, it's a sense of trauma, even though it kind of touches on counseling, but it really isn't. Trauma and dealing with breathing is something that should be part of your life going forward. Many women stop breathing. And how I had to learn that when women tend to, they talk or they breathe or whatever, and they go, I learned that was a sense of trauma. Or they just do it just out of happenstance. They can be sitting and just go, it's trauma, because they don't know how to breathe. Trauma stops you. It's like everything goes into flight mode. So now it's bringing yourself into awareness of your inside. And we do fun things. We look at yourself, look at what are your aspirations. We look at the things that you want. Do you want to be a better mother? Some of us want to be better professionals and really show up for ourselves in the workplace as professionals to others, so we're not experiencing that residue of that abuse or abandonment, rejection, whatever it was that got us stuck. That now they're living a life in the present, and that inner person that they are comes out. It's the person that shows up every single time, even with fear. That person still shows up because that other person is like, nope, we've reconciled that. I'm beautiful. I'm worthy. I'm valued from the inside out.
Oh, that's interesting. Really interesting. So all the women who are out there watching this program right now, if you know you need help, if you know you're going through a toxic relationship, you better contact Dr. Novella, because she is an expert in this field. She's gone through it and she's helping others. She's creating a very big impact in the world. She mentors women all around the world, because now we are in the world of social media, so you can reach out
Yes.
from any part of the world. So is there a time frame for your program, or it just goes by, it depends on the individuals, how long they want to stay into the program?
Well, those are things that I would, be able to know once I have a breakthrough session with the individual. I will be able to tap in and be able to actually hone in what is best for them. Because I know people have busy lives or whatever thing. There's so many other competing priorities that people have, and I want to make sure that they're going to get the most out of the program, because it's not about me, it's about them. It's about them getting the results of confidence. It's about them getting joy, and joy is not a feeling. Joy is inner. Getting peace is inner. Those are things that don't come from emotion. Happiness is a byproduct of it. So I want them to be able to experience when things they got joy, that they can tap into. That happiness will just show up every time as well. But when they have joy, peace, and love that comes from the inside, that they develop and they learn how to work and bring it out, everything else will start to fall into place. So through the breakthrough call and breakthrough session, that's my opportunity to allow them to ask, to provide, questions that I would provide to them and information. And then we go through that in a half an hour to 45 minutes to determine what is the best suited journey for them.
Okay, you mentioned that you also help the children. What do you have a program for the children, and what age group do you work with?
Journey when working with the children is working with the parent. That's part of what I call that the kind of key thing of parenting, because it's the parent is the one that has the authority or they're the disciplinarian over that child, and it's being able to bring things into full spectrum. But in order to do that, that woman has to be at a healthy enough place. You can't help your children if you're not in a place. And I just had a lady that we were working.
That's totally correct.
One of the things she kept trying to do things with her kids, and she still messed up. And I kept saying, I said, you're not hearing. We need to work on you first. As they always tell you on the airplane, don the mask on yourself first before you attempt to help save somebody else. Because if you don't, who dies? You will die.
Correct. And when you die, you're not there. You cannot be there to help someone else.
You can't help anybody else. So it's not fair to those children if you're not in help. Children watch what we do. They don't go by what we say. They go by what we do. But if they see you making steps in your journey and they're like, wow, mommy's getting better. Mommy's doing this and mommy's consistent. They then become in a better position for you to work with them, and also then to get them in programs that will assist the family coming back together. But if you're not in that place, don't expect it to work. It won't. It rarely works. It rarely works if you don't do the work yourself. Yeah.
So the next question I'm going to ask you is that after your program, do you have any kind of support group that these women get together? Because sometimes if you know you're not alone, it
Yes.
helps to heal so in different ways. So how do you do in that sector?
Well, that's a great question. That's part of them going through the 90-day program with me, is they will be in a private group. It's a private group. It's not to the public. It's a private group. And this is an opportunity, as we're doing the different modules and things, these women get to journey together. They get to bounce this opportunity from bounce off ideas and things going along, as well as every, in the group, I'll interject. But the group is for them to have a safe place to be able to share. And one of the things that I have found with group versus one-on-one, and it's nothing against one-on-one. I do have one-on-one. Some people just say, well, I don't have the time or whatever. I'll do the one-on-one. But some people find when they're in a group, they find that community. They find that like-minded individual that helps them grow. And it's really interesting when we sometimes, it was like, oh my God, I went through this. Oh my God, this is what she did. Oh my God, I can do this and I can do that. Sometimes you find that what I call accountability. And even too, it does become an opportunity to have an accountability partner. Somebody, so now you're building a community, which is another thing that a lot of women lack. They don't have a support. Here's an opportunity. You do start to build a support with women that are like-minded. It's like, oh my God, somebody finally gets me. So yes, I do have that for the women. It is private. Like I said, it's not something public. They don't have to worry about that when they come into the group. Everything is confidential. What they share, it stays in that group. I make sure that that's all taken care of. But the women have a safe place where they can journey together. And that makes it beautiful when you do that.
Wow. So talking about this program, I see so much excitement in you. I know this is what you were really born to do, Dr. Novella. So can you tell us about some of the really highlights of your program and some of the low moments that you think, or things that you think you can change or adjust in this program? So just, brief us about that.
Well, the highlights of the program, like I said, is the women get an opportunity to work with me, to get to spend that. It's kind of like I say, it's kind of like we become sister friends, an opportunity to get to grow together, for me to get to learn more about them. They learn more about me. And as they're learning, they're going from what I call pain to purpose. They learn how to journey. Eventually, women get those tools, and everything that they get to keep that. So it's not like after it's over, like, oh my God, I don't have. No, they get to keep whatever, the training month. So they've got tools. And that's another thing too, besides support, you having tools. When you have tools, you have a reference points that you go back to that helps you go from that pain to a purpose. And it could be something very simple. It doesn't have to be, but it starts your mind now to connect to those heart issues, and you start developing things on your own that you know how to be able to continue. That's part of that journey to that inner self coming out and being, showing up as that 100% of a woman that God created you to be. That's the high point. The low part is really like at some point you have to say goodbye. 90 days go so quick. You're talking about 12 weeks. After a while, it's like, oh my God, it's over with. But that's the only bad. But there are opportunities for a woman if she continues and say, I don't want this to end. We have those discussions, find a way to continue on, because there's never enough. There's so much that women can learn, so much women can gain, and so much teaching and knowledge that comes through this. That even for myself, I am still a student as well as being the teacher, that as part of life that is continuing to help me. So as I level up, I level others up to the point where they need to be. So that's the low part about it, if you want to say that there's any fun. But it's fun. I'm a high-spirited, fun person. It's a place to really boost yourself. We'll cry, we'll laugh. We're going to be real.
So the final thing I want us to discuss today is about the financial part when it comes to relationship, because many times those women who are moving out of those relationships, they have joint finance investment and things with their spouses or their boyfriends. So how do they deal with this financial part? So can you give us some advice on how they get out of the relationship and resolve their financial issues and settlements?
Okay. First, what I would like to do is take it a step backwards. Before you enter any relationship, this is for now and the future, you have a heart-to-heart conversation with that individual. Not beat around the bush because they take you to dinner, they make money, or no, you have a heart-to-heart conversation about finances and lay it out on the table as truthfully as you can. And that's starting with, and now I'm going into what you're talking about, is you talk about how are you going to, if you both have a job and you're doing pretty well, how are you going to combine your income? If you do combine your income, if you're not going to combine your income, you need to discuss the reasons why you're not going to combine your income, and how are bills going to get paid? Who's going to pay them? If you have bills before each of you, who are we combining these bills? Are you going to continue to pay them separate? And then we have an account where we have for the household bills together. We have a separate account for that. Those are things you need to talk about. Most couples do not talk about that until after they get married. Then it's too late in my mind. The next thing you need to talk about is education. Are you going back to school? Do you have plans? How are you going to finance that? How are we going to do this together as a couple? The first thing I'm going to say is sit down right away and put together all of your expenses, what you actually have that you have to take care of, aside from your spouses or that your boyfriend, partner, whatever. What expenses do you have? How much income do you have? The next thing you need to do after you done put everything on the table is look at what do you have left over. If you're automatically in the red, you need to start calling every one of your creditors and start working things out. Because when you need to leave this relationship, you need to try to find ways to minimize that impact to your credit, because it's going to be impacted if you don't. Because everything, I mean, do you have shared things together? If you have shared things together, you need to start having those conversations about what is the procedures. Now, with that being said, I have to throw in this disclaimer. Every state, every county, every country, every province is different. Go find out what are the marital laws as it relates to your financial situation. If you need to start divorce proceedings, if you're going through it and you have assets, and don't think you don't have assets. If you got a life insurance policy, that's an asset. If you got a car, that's an asset. If you got a valuable China set, that's asset. Everything is important in a divorce. It's important to know those things. It's important to start listing those things out now. What do you want to keep? What do you want to let go of? You need to know that. The key is having a plan. Even as a woman in a domestic violent relationship or troubled relationship, you need to develop a plan. You need to create a plan. You can't, even if you got to walk out, you still need a plan. If you got to get out tonight, how are you planning to leave? That's what I mean by a plan. You're not just going to walk out that door because that person is not going to let you. Because one of the things about somebody, if you're in an abusive relationship, they smell when you're trying to leave. And that's when they turn things up, and that's when they get more violent. So you got to have a plan. And the plan starts early. You know it's bad, start your plan now. That's one of the things that we kind of touch on in my program is developing that plan. You should have a plan, period, in your marriage. You should have a plan. You should have goals. You should know where you're going, period. So when someone leaves you, you don't feel the weight as much. It's still grief because you're suffering a loss. Nobody can take that away from you. But if you got a plan, you can start picking up the pieces a lot easier.
Thank you so much, Dr. Novella, for using your expertise, using your lived experience, and also your platform to help other women. Some of the help that you couldn't get, you are creating this safe place for other women. So thank you so much. I really appreciate this hour with you. And I would like you to tell us the name of your platform or any social media platform that you have. So those who are watching now, who knows somebody, or if they need help, they could be able to reach out to you. So let us know those platforms, how you could be reached.
But they can reach me in my business site on Facebook at Dr. Novella Jackson, and it's I am Dr. Novella. They can reach me there. They can reach me, I am Dr. Novella on Instagram. They can also reach me as Dr. Novella Jackson on LinkedIn. So I am there, and they can send a message to me, and then we can go from there and set up a private call. I would love to. If there's any woman out there, I would love to have the opportunity to have a breakthrough call with you in session so we can see how I will be able to work you and help you go from pain to purpose with the inner joy and confidence that you so deserve, because you do deserve it. Just know that you deserve it. If no one's told you, I just told you, you deserve it.
So we've come to the end of this session. I'm going to put all those links below so we can be able to reach you. And thank you so much, Dr. Novella. I will surely have you another time on this show. You are so amazing.
Next time with makeup. Next time I'll be the glitz and the glamour.
Yes, you look beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate your time, your knowledge, your wisdom, your expertise.
No, thank you for having me.
Okay. So everyone, it was a wonderful hour with Dr. Novella. I thank you all so much for watching. If you are watching me for the first time, my name is Vivian Mbakwa. And also remember to subscribe to this channel and also click the notification bell to be notified whenever I post new content. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.